would tell my 20-year-old self to be the person that everybody wants to work with, and then ultimately you'll be the person that everybody wants to work for.
If I would talk to my 20-year-old self, which would be what, 7, 8 years ago? I would say to her to judge your work by the effort of its impact, and to remember that whatever good you can do for others, you can then surely triple and double that good for yourself by helping them.
At 21, I joined the U.S. military. I enlisted and left behind a profitable career as a financial advisor to cover as a broadcast journalist a war I didn't believe in. And so I was often probably a little bit too fearless, and while I was confident, I wasn't always bold. I was often very meek in the presence of many of the powerful principles that I had the honor and pleasure to serve. And so my advice to my 21-year-old self would be to always be bold, believe in yourself, and to enjoy the ride.
I would say to my 20-year-old self to really find your people, find those creative, really driven go-getters, and stick with them. And I think that's something that you can take with you for your whole career.
Earn rather than demand your seat at the table. You do that by tying everything you do, no matter how little it is or how big it is, it must be tied to the strategy of the organization that you're supporting. And when you get that seat at the table, make room, just like we just did on this stage, to not only make room for other women to be by your side with you, but help them get there.
In terms of my 20-year-old self, one of the things that I've learned in my career is that you can't be a badass by yourself. You need others, and I think the marches this weekend certainly inspired many of us in this room.
Be open to different paths and not to take necessarily the path that's expected of you, but the path that's best for you, and kind of continually assess where you are in your career and how that fits with your life and your priorities.
Don't be afraid to ask to be more involved. Your fear only gets in your own way, and by asking, what's the worst that can happen to you by asking to be more involved? Your job is not just to do your tasks thoroughly and thoughtfully, but to ask your colleagues how you can help make their lives easier.
Slow down a little. We have really fascinating jobs, and if you forget to stop and breathe and look at what you're experiencing, you're going to miss out on a lot.
So I would tell myself to play the long game and don't look for shortcuts. I think, a career is very much a journey, and I'm sure as many of us can attest, it takes a lot of interesting twists and turns. And on those twists and turns is when you find your opportunity and your voice and the experience that makes it a rich one.
I cut my teeth at a big agency, and I think if I was too afraid to take a risk and go out on my own, I wouldn't be where I was today. So look for opportunities to be bold and get away from the corporate ladder.
Be the calm in the chaos. And whether it's in your professional life or your personal life, that's something that has served me really well.
The qualities I admire the most are just grace and empathy. When I meet women that truly are empathic in their thinking, I just find such a connection with them, and it inspires me to just really look at people through a different lens, a clearer lens. I walk around and I just try to remind myself, you have no idea what someone is going through in life or in business, and so that's really helped me overall just be a better person.
As a woman, I think it's important that we look to help other women, and for me, I go by the saying, a candle loses none of its light by lighting another. And as you're on your journey, learn to distinguish between success and significance. And last but not least, being a badass is a good thing.